Oh. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure you go hit that subscribe button so you can follow along on the build and go check out our other videos. So today we're actually going to put some primer up on the firewall in the cowl area. So like I mentioned before, or in the last video, we got our last patch welded up on the firewall. We got these two patches over here, which came out really good. I was kind of worried about these little contours that it had, but you know, it came out real good, real nice. So once we put some primer on there, color it up, you're never even gonna know. So first things first, I gotta clean up some areas. Gotta clean up around where the windshield wiper motor will go. Take this little clamp off, and then take the steering apart. And then really that's kind of about it. Just kind of remove this wire. I don't remember what this goes to, but gotta tear some stuff apart. Not a big deal. And then we're gonna go ahead and get everything sanded. So what we're gonna spray today, we're gonna just keep up with the whole firewall section, all this area right there. And then what we'll do is come up through this little body line right here and just go all the way over to the other side. Not gonna worry about painting these or in there. So when the time comes to paint the car, we'll actually address that then. But this is just to get a protective coating on all the nice new sheet metal that we did. So the car should be going to the fab shop within the next week or two. So I've already planned that out. We're next in line, we're waiting. We got our spot held up for Right Metal Works to get our cage installed. Once the cage is done, you know, we'll go ahead and paint the cage, probably paint the firewall, paint the cowl, put the dash in, and actually start kind of final assembly. So one of the last videos, I got a lot of comments concerning the steering column that we're using, and actually we got this off of eBay, and this is in aluminum housing. It's got ball bearings on either side of the chromoly shaft that's internal of it, so it's a 3/4 inch chromoly shaft. We had to buy these little man, what would you even call these little collars? We had to buy the collars ourselves, but it came with the quick release for the steering wheel, which is nice little hexagon shape right there. And this is just our Grand GT wheel. We'll probably get a new wheel here eventually. It is kind of heavy, but yeah, it's working for now, so we'll deal with that later. And this is our line lock button. So the only reason why we'd probably get a new wheel is we need to put more buttons on here. And the kind of the placement for where your thumb's at is kind of crap, so we'd have to put buttons like here and here, and then same thing over here. So reaching over to the line lock, it's kind of a stretch, so we're gonna have to have trans brake, line lock, stuff like that. So I just wanted to share with you guys, this whole section right here was all factory seam sealer, and the problem with that stuff is like when it gets old, I mean, it breaks and it's so brittle and just cracks and everything like that. So the problem with that stuff is, you know, once it gets all cracked and brittle like, you know, it's gonna let moisture behind these panels, and as soon as you get, you know, some rust starting, you can't stop it. You're gonna have to cut it out and replace it, or, you know, cut this section out and fix it. So that's why we're going ahead and stripping all of the seam sealers. So all of this will be gone, all of that will be gone, and we will re-seam seal everything with nice new technology type stuff. That way we have no issues with water trying to get where it's not supposed to be. Just wanted to show you guys a few areas that I was talking about earlier about how the seam sealer gets so old it cracks. And like right here's a little cracked. It's not too bad up here, but like on the sides that I already took off, it's actually pretty bad. It looked like that right there. So you can see it's all cracked, and it's gonna let water and dirt and debris and stuff like that get underneath it. And this is what I was trying to uncover or see if we had any of. And then it's some rusting along the seam. So right there, and a little bit over here. Not luckily, you know, we actually took off the seam sealer and we found this now. That way we can clean it up and get it treated. Once we go to spray the primer on there, we'll go ahead and treat that beforehand. And once it's sprayed, it'll be done. It won't have, you know, we won't have to worry about it rusting again. So we'll spray and primer, or sorry, first we'll treat it, then we'll spray it. Then what we'll do is get more seam sealer and go around all these areas. And I personally think that you know, these cars coming from factory, you know, they didn't do a very good job of doing it. I mean, they put definitely enough on there for sure, but that's probably the problem, is they put probably too much. Or I mean, you can see on the ground like how much more we've taken off, and that's just up here. Like there's still some more in the trunk and areas and stuff like that. So I've already done the whole car, the inside of it, and it was probably 10 times as bad. Like there was stuff everywhere. So that's why we're doing this, trying to uncover all the flaws and imperfections before we move on. That way we know our car is 100% solid. We're not going to have any surprise rusting down the road or anything like that. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, you guys. If you have an old classic car, or it's something that's just been sitting outside, just take a look at all the you know, the waterproofing, all the seam sealing and stuff like that. See if there's any cracks in it. If there's any cracks in it, try to fix that or repair that. That way water and dirt and debris doesn't get under there and start rusting away. All the old seam sealer is out. Took a wire wheel like you guys just saw, took all the old crap out, got it out behind here on the windshield wiper motor and over here as well. And I actually took a hammer and a punch, and I started punching some of the sheet metal down just because it was so, oh, it's sticking pretty up, and I actually cut my finger on one of these edges right here. So took a punch, smashed it down just a little bit, made sure this was all nice and straight. And then now, once we go and put new seam sealer on here, we'll probably have to use less of it just because all this metal is kind of sandwiched together. So yeah, I think it's coming out pretty good. And this whole area is nice and smooth. Took a file, just filed it down just a little bit just so it's not as sharp, because it was pretty sharp, and like I said, I just cut myself. But that's all part of it. It's all good. So yeah, now we'll go ahead and sand up the firewall and the cowl portion. Alright guys, it is the next day, and I did not film any of this just because it's just me sanding, but everything is all sanded up, the whole cowl area, the firewall. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and hit it with some wax and grease remover, get all that nasty dirt and wax and stuff like that off. That way when we go to tape up, everything sticks really nice. And once we're all taped up, masked off, and go ahead and mix up some paint and start shooting some primer. Got everything masked up. Didn't have a chance to spray it yesterday, but we're all masked up today. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna wipe it down one more time, get a tack cloth on it, get all the loose lint and dirt and stuff like that off, and then go ahead and put a few coats of our feather fill on there, and yeah, should be come out pretty good. We'll see. Alright you guys, got the first coat on, and I am pretty freaking stoked. Stuff is coming out super nice. It's laying down really nice, and you know, I'm actually really happy with all the body work that we've done. And you remember all this area that had all the Bondo and stuff like that? There's a few areas up here we'll have to touch up, but that's not a big deal because this stuff lays on super thick, and what we can do is actually sand this down, and hopefully it's enough to where it'll be smooth again. So I'm gonna let this flash off another 5-10 minutes, and then I go ahead and put a second or third coat on, just depending on how much I have left. Probably just use all that I made, just lay it on there nice and thick. Damn you guys, this is seriously one of those hard work pays off moments. I mean, this thing is looking so good. Like, look at the dash, like, you know, all the areas that we did some body work on, like over here, it came out freaking mint, man. Like both sides of the dash are flawless. And then, you know, we still have little holes over here. We'll fill that in with some icing. That's not a big deal. But I mean, look at it. Oh, it's like that much closer to getting some color on it. So that's gonna be it for today's video, you guys. Like, again, we really thank you all for watching, and you know, help supporting the channel. So if you guys have any questions at all, just go ahead and put a comment down below. You can ask us what kind of finish sand we're using, what sandpaper, what color, why we chose a Camaro, whatever the case may be, just let us know. We'll get back to it and we'll answer you. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Hard work pays off, guys, so stick in with us. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you in the next episode.